folks in this room like Jim and Stenny, who just have always been there for all of us, no matter where. No, I really mean it. Been there for all of us. By sticking together, we got a lot done. By sticking together, we're back in the house, and we're going to finish the job. Look, let's take a look at what we've done. And some has already been mentioned. You know, we came in, the economy was in ruins. We had so many lost jobs, and it went beyond the pandemic. It started before that. But we can see it in your districts.
Testimony. Let me begin the questioning with a question from Ms. Altman. As you know, I've just introduced legislation to expand Social Security benefits by $200 a month and to fully fund Social Security for the next 75 years by demanding that America...
Relief check may go out to the people, and lawmakers are aiming to address the rising price of gas. One of the new proposals will provide eligible Americans with a monthly stimulus for at least $100. And now, according to the latest report by AAA, the average price for a gallon of gas fell at $3 this week from $3.42 during the previous week. It came as oil prices fell $5 from last week to $70 per barrel. Gas Buddy even reported that the most common gas price was $3.20 a gallon, a drop of 10 cents from last week. A number of factors have coincided to bring gas prices steadily lower since then. And now, a year after the crisis, crude oil prices on global markets and the retail price of regular gas are below the pre-crisis levels. But lawmakers still to support a new type of relief payment. It will be a gas rebate check. The three representatives have supported the Gas Rebate Act, and the proposal comes from Senate representatives like Mike Thompson, John Larson, and Lauren Underwood. The bill includes that Americans will get an energy rebate of $100 a month, in any month where the national average gas price exceeds $4 a gallon. Representative Peter DeFazio has proposed the Stop Gas Price Gouging Tax and Rebate Act. The bill would create a windfall profit tax on excessive corporate profits and return the revenue to American consumers in the form of a tax rebate. Under this proposal, companies will pay a one-time 50% windfall profit tax on any adjustable taxable income that exceeds 100% of their adjustable taxable income during 2015 and 2019. So inflation still remains high, yet Americans went on a spending spree last month, eating out at restaurants, shopping for cars. In ordinary times, the additional spending will be welcome news to an economy that's heavily dependent on consumer dollars. But there's a catch. All that spending may put more pressure on inflation, at a time when the Federal Reserve is just raising the rates aggressively to keep prices in check. Even according to economists, a drop in consumer spending would help to cool inflation, but it would also raise concerns about a recession that nobody wants to talk about, because in addition, many people socked away extra savings during this time, when spending opportunities were limited and the government was distributing multiple rounds of relief. It's important to remember that millions of households are still struggling. Businesses are not confident that consumer spending habits will continue, and spending grew much faster than income in January. The Fed has been trying to get shoppers to slow down their spending and interest rates in an effort to curb inflation. President Biden is changing his mind again, everybody, and the Biden administration has released new information on Medicare changes. Many Americans may see a big cut to their benefits, and these are proposed plans that may help seniors or retirees during this time. Now, according to a new analysis, monthly Obamacare premiums rose in 2023 for the first time since 2019. It's driven by inflation and increased health spending. And according to analysis by the Urban Institute, despite continued growth in the number of insurers offering plans, the monthly premiums for Affordable Care Act benchmark plans increased by an average 3.4%. The national average benchmark was only $400 compared to the $438 last year. More than 16 million Americans enrolled in exchange plans in 2023. Social Security and Medicare face an uncertain future as well. The Hospital Insurance Trust Fund, also known as Medicare Part A, everybody, is now projected to be insolvent in 8 years. Social Security's woes have largely come down to demographics. Since 2010, the program has been spending more on benefits than it has been bringing in from payroll tax revenues. Yet to fix the problem, the solution remains the same. The Social Security Expansion Act will put an additional $2,400 in beneficiaries' pockets each year and ensure the program is fully funded through the end of 2096. The bill would accomplish this by lifting the cap on the maximum amount of income subject to the Social Security payroll tax, a change that would not raise taxes on the 93% of U.S. households that are making less than $250,000 a year. Currently, annual earnings above $160,000 are not subject to the Social Security payroll tax, which means the millionaires will stop paying less tax. About half of all eligible beneficiaries are currently enrolled in this, which contracts with private insurers on the deal with this, because the Medicare Payment Advisory Panel, which advises Congress on Medicare issues, estimates that nearly 124 million people, $124 billion in overpayments, have been made to insurers since 2007. Senators for Medicare and Medicaid services originally proposed bills that it would estimate result in 1% increase to Medicare Advantage payments next year. In those days of continuing high inflation, Americans are wondering if there will be any more government stimulus payments in the future. A group of lawmakers have already proposed calling for another round of stimulus. Lawmakers in the Senate have even asked Joe Biden to consider recurring payments as well as expansion to monthly benefits. Even states like Maine are offering stimulus relief for their residents, and these payments are worth as much as $450 to residents. While most people would have received them by the end of March, some checks will continue to arrive into mid-April. That means people will be getting their stimulus money that they need so much in America right now. Because the tax amount is larger than normal. That's because of the additional relief, energy relief program and benefits that are happening around the country. Some Maryland homeowners are also getting a reminder that they didn't apply for a state homestead tax credit, that they can miss out on the Montgomery County's $700 tax credit. Also, there is the Earned Income Tax Credit. If you're eligible, it means you can get a significant tax break. It's only available for certain people, however. The good news is that there are new relief plans that have been passed, and the millions of low-income households will qualify for additional benefits this month. Extra SNAP benefits are set to go out to eligible Americans this week, but Republicans want to make a big change that may lead to less people qualifying for the benefits. Folks, this is important. The Republican leaders are now pressing to tighten work requirements for food stamps and other government assistance programs as a way to slash the federal spending. Any cuts Republicans suggest will instantly be criticized by Democrats, leaving the GOP party toiling to cobble together a budget plan that can win the support of all Republicans. And with a raise at the majority and Democrats suddenly opposed to spending cuts on the scale that they are demanding, Republicans can afford no more opposition in their own ranks if they hope to pass a fiscal plan. They have already rolled out reductions to Medicare or Social Security, and top House Republicans have made increasing work requirements for participants in the SNAP, one of the central elements of whatever spending blueprint that they will ultimately release. Republicans have framed it as a straightforward way to curtail what they believe is the nation's out-of-control spending. Plus, they argue that it would also lift Americans out of poverty. Republicans may soon be forced to put the matter into a vote. Kevin McCarthy told reporters last week that House Republicans could soon move on a bill modeled on a letter that he sent to President Biden last month. The letter outlined spending cuts, including strengthening work requirements for those without dependents who can work. Representative Dusty Johnson of South Dakota earlier said that this year's legislation would also make able-bodied adults without dependents subject to work requirements until they are 65, raising the current age from 49. The bill would substantially narrow an exemption from work requirements for some people in households with children younger than 18, excusing only those whose incomes are less than 7. The additional federal funding for the SNAP program ended on March 31st, and now SNAP benefits have returned to the standard amount. The additional funding, which began in spring, was meant to help people who are out of jobs and struggling during this time. Despite the seeming end to the crisis, many households are still struggling to put food on the table, especially with the rising cost of goods. On average, households will receive at least $95 a month. Some households who are under regular SNAP rules receive low benefits as well because they have somewhat higher bills but still modest incomes.